Jai Shri Krishna. Today, moon is in Jyeshta Nakshatra. And today's video, it is going to be about dementia. Okay, the connection between moon and Mercury. All right, dementia. And combinations for dementia. Okay. And I'll also give you remedies as well. That is the important thing. So, dementia, or before we start, the bells and whistles, the three things I always say, please click the subscription video, right? The subscribe button, as well as the notification, the bell button as well. Number two is also please share your comments and inputs and feedback in the comment section as well. And third one is weekly 7:20 p.m. Central Time. I teach live classes in Clubhouse on Vedic Astrology, right? So iOS or Android user, you have to download the Clubhouse app and come to Clubhouse, and then Vedic Astrology Club is the club you have to enroll into, and it's all free, right? The app, the sessions, classes, everything. I also have close to 4 years of recording in the Clubhouse app as well, in the Vedic Astrology Club. Yeah, so you can come and listen if you're interested in Vedic astrology. This is all free classes. I do teach as a schedule full-time classes, but it's a paid one, and I start once a year or something. I just now finished the series 3. I finished series 1, series 2, series 3. So multiple batches have been finished as well. Yeah, okay. Dementia. We know dementia is a medical term. Okay, so what is dementia, right? Because we have to define. See, the definitions could be more or less similar, but the symptoms could be different. So dementia is an umbrella term in medicine for a decline or a drop in the mental ability that is severe enough to interfere with daily life. This is the online definition what I pulled out. Okay, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a person involved in medicine also. All right, so this is what I understood, this is what I pulled. Okay, it is not a specific disease. In addition, it says that it is not a specific disease, but rather a group of symptoms, right? It's a conglomerate of symptoms affecting memory, okay, thinking, reasoning, and behavior. Okay, while memory loss is a common sign, dementia is really not a normal part of aging. That's what it says online. Okay, the core symptoms it says is dementia goes beyond normal occasional forgetfulness. It impacts the brain. So look at all the keywords, the brain, to the point where it hinders the person with everyday tasks such as managing finances, right, cooking, following conversations, understanding conversations, etc. All right, this is all the textbook definition, medicine definition pulled online. Okay, how do we bring this break into the chart? What does this mean? And if you know anybody who has dementia, please send them this video as well. Let them understand a little bit of it. I'm also giving key remedies as well. Okay. So the thing is, the Kal Purush Lagna is Aries, which is itself got a sign of Ram, right? Ram, and it's actually the goat head kind of, which is associated with Daksha Prajapati. Okay. All right. So the Lagna, the first house is the brain. Okay, the head and the brain. That is why if you see in the first house, you have Jupiter and Mercury getting Digbala, Buddhi, head. Okay. When we say memory, it is always connected with Mercury. So it's an easy way to remember us: memory, Mercury, memory, Mercury, memory, Mercury, memory, Mercury. Okay. Moments is associated with moon. So there is a difference between memory and moments. Okay. memory and moments. And moments are something which goes back to 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You know, I remember it was 1992 World Cup, India, Pakistan, right? And I vaguely remember it was a Wednesday. 1992 World Cup, India, Pakistan was a Wednesday, right? So that kind of energy, if you see, if it goes back to that level, right, it's actually a moment. Because on that day, in the Cricket World Cup between India and Pakistan, India defeated Pakistan. Yeah, so it's a moment. But in a way, memory and moments are connected, which is memory, Mercury and Moon are connected. Moon's child is Mercury. Okay, all right. Now we have to understand Moon is exalted at Taurus in Kritika Nakshatra. Okay, 3 degrees Kritika Nakshatra in the Kalpur second house, and it goes to Capricorn Navamsha. Okay, Mercury, right, is exalted in Virgo in its own Rashi, right? It's its own Rashi, Mulatrikona Rashi, exaltation Rashi, all same, but in the nakshatra of Hasta Nakshatra. Okay, and it will be again, if you see Moon's exaltation will be Pada 2, Kritika Nakshatra. Mercury exaltation will also be Pada 2. The 2 also defines Dharma, Artha house, Artha. Okay, so in the Navamsha, right, in the Navamsha, Mercury will go to Taurus in exaltation, right? That is where the Rashi it will go. So that is a benefic Rashi. Moon goes to a malefic Navamsha. You don't see Navamsha by friendly inimical. It's malefic or benefic. Capricorn is a malefic Navamsha. Taurus is a benefic Navamsha. But both of them second pada. But Mercury is exalted in Hasta Nakshatra, pada 2. Hasta itself is owned by Moon. So in a way, Mercury needs that Moon energy from a nakshatra perspective. Because Moon's nakshatra is Hasta, Rohini, Hasta and Shravana. Yeah? Okay. Next point. So this is the basic point, first one. Second one we'll go is, right, now we've seen Lagna, the brain, Mercury and memory, Moon, moment, right? So when people take photographs and keeps it back of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right, indirectly you go back and see the pictures to recollect certain things. Those are moments. Okay, so I believe MasterCard had, you know, this nice advertisement back then about for everything there is a price, right? These are priceless. The moments are priceless. So they had a very nice ad before. I remember of seeing MasterCard. Okay, now we look at combinations, which is going to kind of understand this. Your Lagna is your Vidhi, your Madhi is your Moon, mind, and Gadi is Sun. Okay, so Lagna is Vidhi. Okay, so Lagna is Vidhi. The first house is also brain. Okay, the head and the brain. So the first house, there has to be some affliction in a way. First house, first lord, affliction has to happen. Next is memory and Mercury, right? So memory has to be, in order for memory to have a problem, Mercury has to be conjunct with the malefic. Because Mercury, when conjunct with the malefic, will turn a malefic. Mercury has to be independent. Okay, and then on top of it, Mercury has to be conjunct with a malefic without any benefic aspect as well. And we have to look at degrees. Okay, Moon, moment. Moon will be like a malefic, which means it doesn't matter waxing or waning, but it will be less than 4 places away from the sun, or before the sun or after the sun, less than 4 places. So Moon will be in a way malefic, without strength basically. Okay, so moon also has a duality. When a moon is a malefic, Mercury is dual. Mercury has duality. Moon is dual when either it sits in a dual Rashi, the four corner Rashis, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, or when moon is without strength. Right? Waxing, waning doesn't matter. 4 houses before or after the sun, less than 4 houses. Okay? All right. Now we've seen, the moon Mercury, okay, combination. Now we've seen that. So now the moon Mercury connection has to happen. Either moon and Mercury conjunct. When moon and Mercury conjunct, right? Now when moon and Mercury are conjunct, what happens? Sun is around, which means the moon is without strength, which means moon itself is a malefic. Now Mercury also turns a malefic. That is the reason moon and Mercury aspecting each other is good. Moon and Mercury conjunct each other is not good. Moon and Mercury conjunction, moon and Mercury parivardhana will also give you anxiety issues. Moon and Mercury parivardhana. Okay, so coming back, Mercury connection, right, with moon, as in a way, it can be, moon in Mercury Rashi, Mercury in moon Rashi. Okay, and both of them without strength. Moon is without strength, Mercury without strength, hence both of them are malefic. Okay, so moon in Mercury Rashi, Mercury in moon Rashi. Okay, and you remember also this, wherever moon sits, that becomes the Rashi. If moon sits in Gemini, that's the Rashi. Now, moon sits in Virgo, that's the Rashi. And Gemini and Virgo are Mercury Rashis. Okay, so moon Mercury combination is coming now, when moon sits in Gemini or Virgo. Okay, and the next one is moon Mercury Parivardhana Yoga. That is also not really a good thing, right? Because in a way, if the moon is without strength, this is the most important thing. If the moon is without strength, okay, moon Mercury Parivardhana will happen when moon is in Gemini, Mercury is in Cancer, which means sun is around. This is one combination. Second combination is when moon is in Virgo, Mercury is in Cancer. Again, sun will be around, so the strength won't be there for the moon. And moon Mercury Parivardhana, anxiety issues. Okay, all right. Now moon Mercury has to be conjunct with a malefic. This is the most important thing. Observe closely. Mercury has to be conjunct with a malefic, so Mercury will become a malefic. Lagna also has to have some malefic influence. In both these cases, there won't be any benefic influence. Then moon has to also have a problem in terms of a waning moon without strength, somehow connected with Mercury. Okay, Parivardhana or sitting in a Mercury Rashi of Gemini, Virgo, etc. These two things will have to happen. Okay. Now, somewhere also Ketu, right? Ketu planet can also trigger dementia in a way, because Ketu does inward energy, right? No head. So there's no head, right? So that can process internally because there's no head. So Ketu is also a planet in a way associated in this process for dementia. So Ketu conjunct with moon, Ketu conjunct with Mercury as well in this whole thing. Okay, all right. Now the trigger, the timing. In this case, the timing or trigger when the dementia will be seen is also very important. And Vedic astrology, I use the Udu Mahadasha, which is the Vimshottari Mahadasha of 120 years. So exactly when a moon Mahadasha starts, Mahadasha, not Antardasa. Mahadasha or a Mercury Mahadasha. Moon Mahadasha is 10 years, Mercury Mahadasha is 17 years. Okay, so when these timings trigger, the Dasa timing, right, it will show the dementia issues. Either moon or Mercury. Okay, now comes to the remedies. Okay, what are the things to do? So one, there is always this doctor, medicines, treatment. That is important. You have to do what you have to do. Okay, do not deviate from that. Okay, whatever they tell you, how, and they may work you with a psychiatrist or whatever it is. Okay, to do a disciplined approach or however they do, because there is some good work which can be done around to improve that. That is one part of it, medicine part, science part. There is another angle to it. That is the angle I'm going to address, the remedies. The first remedy is your Kuladevata. Okay, go to your Kuladevata. Your Kuladevata is where your ancestors have worked and prayed. Okay, your ancestors. Go to your Kuladevata. Okay, and during a full moon time period is even very auspicious. Or on your 9th Lord day. If you're a Virgo ascendant, your 9th Lord will be Venus Friday. If you're a Taurus ascendant, your 9th Lord will be Saturn Saturday. If you're a Libra ascendant, your 9th Lord will be Mercury Wednesday. Okay? Bhagyasthana, 9th. Go and pray to your Kuladevata. The Kuladevata blessings is important. Okay? Donate, get a sari, do abhishek, whatever you have to do as per your Kuladevata process, please do that. And every month you tell them to do an archana in your name, in the Kuladevata temple. Okay? On your Janma Nakshatra day. Every month on your Janma Nakshatra in the archana in the Kuladevata temple. Okay? Number 1. First remedy, yeah? Number 2, I have done full moon water remedy. Please go and see that and follow that process and procedure. Okay, you should never collect when moon is conjunct with Saturn, Rahu or Ketu. Yeah, or doing that eclipse things. Remember that. Full moon water is such a good remedy for healing. Okay, second. Third, listen to Vishnu Sahasranama. Play Vishnu Sahasranama daily. Gayatri mantra 108 times and Om chanting 108 times. Just Om. This can actually help. It goes to the nerves all the way. Mercury is connected with also nerves. Okay. Third. The fourth one is very important. The fourth one is, Jyotirlinga. Somnath Jyotirlinga, which is associated with moon. First visit the Somnath Jyotirlinga. Go there, collect the mud from the Jyotirlinga. Right? Visit on a Monday. Collect the mud from there. Bring it to your home puja place. Right? And keep a Shivalinga on that mud and pray to that daily. If you cannot do it, the person who is afflicted with dementia, somebody has to do it in the house for that person. Okay. Now I will do a full video or a series of 12 videos around 12 Jyotirlingas. I'll definitely do that. So watch that as well. Okay. So mud, Shivalinga, and keep a small 5-headed snake over there to do the puja with the Shivalinga. Okay, like very simple as just milk and water, right? And then the small plate doing milk and water, and play any Shiva stotra, anything of Shiva, Rudra Japa. Yeah. So these are the remedies to work around dementia. Okay. I have a lot of patients and clients who have dementia who I have seen and I'm working upon as well. I have seen improvement, but it takes time. There is no magic, doesn't happen overnight. Yeah, dementia, ADHD, all of those things. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys soon in another video. Thank you and Jai Shri Krishna.